Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India Newshour, India's voice to the world. I'm Preeti Kaur. Coming up in the next 1 hour. France joins Western allies in recognizing Palestinian state ahead of the UN General Assembly. Netanyahu threatens countries of fierce response. Palestinian president calls for Hamas to surrender weapons in the UN address, appreciates mediation efforts of Qatar, Egypt and the US to end the Gaza conflict, calls for permanent ceasefire. India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar meets US counterpart on the sidelines of the UNGA. Discussion focuses on strengthening strategic cooperation in key areas including trade, defense and energy. President Draupadi Murmu to confer the 71st National Film Awards in New Delhi. Malayalam superstar Mohanlal to be honoured with Dadasaheb Phalke Award. Dozens of world leaders gathered at the United Nations on Monday to embrace a Palestinian state, a landmark diplomatic shift nearly 2 years into the Israel-Hamas conflict. Joining Western allies in recognizing Palestinian state, France President Emmanuel Macron has formally recognized a Palestinian state, becoming the latest in a wave of countries to take the step. The leaders of 6 countries, including France, have moved to recognize Palestinian statehood at the high-level summit ahead of the annual UN General Assembly meeting in Paris. Alongside France, which co-convened the meeting with Saudi Arabia, Andorra, Belgium, Luxembourg, Malta and Monaco said that they were recognizing a Palestinian state. Speaking at the UN in New York, President Macron said that the time for peace has come and that nothing justifies the ongoing conflict in Gaza.
For peace between the Israeli people and the Palestinian people, I declared that France today recognizes the state of Palestine. The time has come to stop the war, the bombings in Gaza, the massacres and the fleeing populations. The time for peace has come because we are moments away from no longer being able to grasp it.
L'État de Palestine.
Dozens of world leaders gathered at the United Nations on Monday to advocate for a Palestinian state, marking a significant diplomatic shift nearly 2 years into the Gaza conflict. Saudi Arabia's Foreign Minister, Prince Faisal bin Farhan, addressing the Israeli-Palestinian two-state solution summit, underscored Riyadh's commitment to peace efforts and called for an independent Palestinian state based on the 1967 borders with East Jerusalem as its capital.
We call on all other countries to take a similar historic step that will have a great impact on supporting the efforts toward the implementation of the two-state solution, achieve permanent and comprehensive peace in the Middle East, and find a new reality whereby the region can enjoy stability and prosperity.
Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas reiterated his stance that military groups like Hamas must surrender their weapons to the Palestinian Authority, emphasizing on the need for one unified state without weapons. Abbas also pledged to hold presidential and parliamentary elections within a year after the war's conclusion.
Hamas and other factions must surrender their weapons to Palestinian Authority. What we want is one unified state without weapons, a state with one law and one legitimate security force. We stress our condemnation of the occupation's crime. We also condemn the killing and detention of civilians, including Hamas action on October 7, 2023.
Meanwhile, UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres expressed disappointment over the absence of full Palestinian representation at the summit and condemned the ongoing conflict.
I also want to acknowledge the Palestinian delegation and once again note my disappointment that they were denied the opportunity to be fully represented.
Earlier on Sunday, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said that there would be no Palestinian state in a message addressed to the leaders of Britain, Australia and Canada after they recognized Palestinian statehood. Netanyahu added that the act of recognition made by those leaders acts as a reward to terrorism following the deadly attack of October 7, 2023. Netanyahu said that for years he has prevented a Palestinian state despite domestic and international pressure, and added that he will give his response after he returns from the United States. Israel's ambassador to the UN, Danny Danon, said that Israel is committed to continuing the conflict until all hostages are returned and until Hamas is out of the game completely. Danon's remarks came just after France recognized a Palestinian state at the World Summit. Israel has said that such moves will undermine the prospects of a peaceful ending to the conflict of Gaza. The two-state solution was the bedrock of the US-backed peace process ushered in by the 1993 Oslo Accords. The process suffered heavy pushback from both the sides and has all but died. No such negotiations over a two-state solution have been held since 2014. The United States and Israel boycotted Monday's meeting. Danon said that Israel would discuss what action to take in response to the announcements of recognition after Prime Minister Netanyahu returns to Israel next week.
We are willing to negotiate a ceasefire. We know what it will look like. At the end of the process, Hamas will not be there. So we are still negotiating, and we are talking with the negotiators, and we hope that there will be continuation for that. But the end game, it will be that Gaza will not have Hamas control.
Mexico's President Claudia Sheinbaum called for an end to the genocide in Gaza during her morning press conference on Monday ahead of the annual UN high-level general debate. Asked about the position Mexico will defend at the New York summit, the president said that the foreign minister will bring a message of peace, adding that Mexico has joined the international community to call for an end to the genocide in Gaza. This is the first time Sheinbaum has called the Israel-Gaza conflict a genocide. The president also recalled that her government had recognized the Palestinian ambassador to Mexico for the first time.
Por la situación que está viviendo Gaza.
We have supported all the complaints that were filed together with the government of Chile regarding the situation that Gaza is living, and we have joined the international community in calling to stop this genocide in Gaza.
Y el Estado palestino.
Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney also addressed the Council on Foreign Relations in New York City on Monday. His comments focused on Canada's foreign policy priorities, including support for a Palestinian state and the new global economy.
The idea of waiting until all the conditions are in place for a free and viable Palestinian state committed to peace and security side by side with the state of Israel is what I've called a Zionist Palestinian state, which is what we want. Those conditions being in place, keeping the concept there on the shelf, when it is the avowed policy of the Israeli government that there will never be a Palestinian state.
India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar met with U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio on Monday in New York. Meeting on the sidelines of the 80th session of the United Nations General Assembly, the two leaders discussed a range of bilateral and international issues of current concern. Dr. Jaishankar, in a social media post, said that they also agreed on the importance of sustained engagement to progress on priority areas. Secretary Rubio also posted on social media saying the meeting focused on various aspects of the bilateral partnership aimed at enhancing prosperity for both the nations. He further said that discussions were focused on key areas of bilateral ties, including trade, energy, pharmaceuticals, and critical minerals. This marks the third in-person meeting between Jaishankar and Rubio this year. Their last interaction took place on 1st of July during the Quad Foreign Ministers meeting in Washington. The Indian External Affairs Minister also met with EU foreign ministers at their informal meeting in New York. In a social media post, Dr. S. Jaishankar thanked EU Foreign Policy Chief Kaja Kallas for hosting him. He further stated that they exchanged views on multilateralism, India-EU partnership, Ukraine and Gaza conflict, energy and trade. And also these talks with European Union foreign ministers on India-EU partnership, Ukraine and Gaza conflicts were held. U.S. Special Envoy for South and Central Asia and Ambassador nominee to India, Sergio Gore, also met with India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar on the margins of the UNGA. Sri Lankan President Anura Kumara Dissanayake has departed for the United States on Monday night to take part in the 80th session of the UNGA. According to the President's media division, Dissanayake is scheduled to deliver Sri Lanka's address to the Assembly on Wednesday, that is 24th of September. He is also expected to hold talks with the UN Secretary-General Antonio Guterres and several world leaders on the sidelines of the session. In addition to high-level diplomatic engagements, the President will meet members of the Sri Lankan diaspora in the United States. The visit comes as Colombo seeks to deepen international partnerships and present its position on pressing global and regional issues. Foreign Minister Vijita Herath, who also oversees foreign employment and tourism, is accompanying the President during the official visit. In the latest updates in Ukraine-Russia conflict, Russia claimed on Monday its forces had taken control of another settlement in Ukraine's Dnipropetrovsk region amid its ongoing offensive in the conflict-torn country's east. In a statement, Russian Defense Ministry claimed that its forces captured the village of Kalinivske, situated about 29 kilometers west of the strategic town of Vilaya Novosilka. But a Ukrainian military spokesperson said that Russian report was untrue and that Moscow's troops had made less progress in the region than they had reported. Ukraine's military said it is engaged in counter-attack operations in parts of Donetsk region, the focal point of the conflict. Meanwhile, EU Foreign Policy Chief Kaja Kallas said that if Russian planes violate airspace, every country has the right to defend itself and act accordingly.
It is clear that Russia is testing us. How far it can go is also trying to sow fear within our societies that, if we are supporting Ukraine, then this war comes to other territories and it's expanding. And that's why we have to be very firm on this. Now, as the Polish Prime Minister today said, if the planes are violating airspace, every country has the right to defend itself and act accordingly. And this is, I think, important to understand that everybody has an obligation in front of their own citizens that these kind of incursions are not happening.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said on Tuesday that he met with President of Kazakhstan Kassym-Jomart Tokayev. The Ukrainian leader said that they discussed in detail the efforts of Ukraine, the United States and Europe to bring the conflict to an end. The leaders also addressed trade and economic cooperation as well as interest of Kazakh companies in participating in Ukraine's recovery, he added. You're watching DD India Newshour. We're heading for a short break, but after the break, Trump signs order naming Antifa a domestic terrorist organization, directs to dismantle all illegal operations by Antifa. Iran points to diplomacy as the only way to resolve the nuclear dispute with the West. Egyptian-British activist Abdel Fattah granted pardon, released from prison along with 5 others.
Jharkhand will mesmerize you with majestic nature, rich heritage and colorful culture.
Hello. Johar. It fits perfectly.
Thank you.
Full workout ho gaya.
Ready?
Postcards from Jharkhand on National Geographic.
Welcome back. After the break, you're watching DD India Newshour. US President Donald Trump on Monday linked autism to childhood vaccines and also to the use of popular pain medication Tylenol for pregnant women and children, claims which are not backed by decades of science. In an extraordinary news conference at the White House, the Republican president delivered medical advice to pregnant women and parents of young children, repeatedly telling them not to use or administer the over-the-counter painkiller.
Like it is, don't take Tylenol. Don't take it if you just can't. I mean, it's fight like hell not to take it. There may be a point where you have to, and that you have to work out with yourself. So don't take Tylenol.
The Trump administration said that it plans to initiate a change to the safety label on Tylenol, which would say that research shows it can lead to adverse neurological outcomes. President Trump, without presenting evidence for the claim, said that the FDA will notify doctors that using Tylenol during pregnancy can be associated with a very increased risk of autism. The Trump administration also suggested leucovorin, a form of folic acid, as a treatment for autism symptoms.
We have also identified an exciting therapy that may benefit large numbers of children who suffer from autism. Peer-reviewed literature has documented that up to 60% of folate-deficient children with ASD can have improved verbal communications if given leucovorin.
Tylenol is made by consumer health company Kenvue, which was spun off from Johnson & Johnson in 2023, and generic versions of acetaminophen are also available. The company said on Monday that it disagreed with the suggestion of a link which it said was not based in science. U.S. President Donald Trump has signed an executive order on Monday calling the Antifa movement a domestic terrorist organization. According to the Anti-Defamation League, which tracks extremists, said Antifa is a decentralized, leaderless movement composed of loose collection of groups, networks and individuals. The White House stated that Trump's 370 World Executive Order directs all relevant executive departments and agencies to investigate, disrupt and dismantle any and all illegal operations conducted by Antifa or anyone who funds such actions. The White House has promised actions targeting left-wing groups following the assassination of conservative influencer Charlie Kirk. Lawmakers and union members gathered in Hollywood on Monday to show support for suspended talk show host Jimmy Kimmel and to rally for free speech. Democratic members of Congress, alongside members from the Writers Guild of America, Directors Guild of America, spoke about the importance of free speech and against censorship. About an hour after the rally, Disney said that it would return Jimmy Kimmel Live to the air on Tuesday. Disney said last week's suspension of the late-night comedy show had been to avoid further inflaming a tense situation. Disney said in the statement that it felt some of Kimmel's comments were ill-timed and thus insensitive. Disney CEO Bob Iger and Disney Entertainment co-chair Dana Walden talked with Kimmel over the weekend. The decision was guided by what was in the entertainment company's best interest rather than external pressure from station owners or the Federal Communication Commission regulator. A delegation of U.S. lawmakers met with Chinese Defense Minister Dong Yan on Monday in the first House of Representatives visit to Beijing in 6 years, with talks aimed at bolstering exchanges, including military-to-military communication. The delegation was led by Democratic U.S. Representative Adam Smith, the current top diplomat, in fact, Democrat on the U.S. Armed Services Committee that oversees the U.S. Defense Department and Armed Forces. The trip followed a call on Friday between U.S. President Trump and China's President Xi Jinping as they sought a way out of the strained ties. The delegation also met with Chinese Vice Premier He Lifeng at the Great Hall of the People in Beijing. Meanwhile, Brazil's chief prosecutor charged Eduardo Bolsonaro on Monday over his lobbying for U.S. sanctions in a bid to sway the outcome of the coup trial against his father, former President Jair Bolsonaro. The Attorney General's office has alleged Eduardo Bolsonaro, a congressman, of repeatedly acting to subject the interests of the Republic to personal and family agendas, including threats of sanctions from foreign governments. The charges came as Washington unveiled fresh penalties, a promised retaliation after Jair Bolsonaro was convicted and sentenced to jail earlier this month. The congressman called these charges bogus in a social media post, saying it was absurd to accuse him of obstruction of justice, and the timing of the announcement highlighted his ongoing political persecution. The U.S. on Monday imposed sanctions on Viviane Barsi de Moraes, the wife of Brazilian judge who presided over the criminal case of former President Jair Bolsonaro. In an expansion of its sanctions targeting Brazil's judiciary, the sanctions on the wife of Supreme Court Justice Alexandre de Moraes was imposed under authorities provided by the Global Magnitsky Act. It also imposed sanctions on the Lex Institute, a financial entity controlled by Barsi de Moraes and other family members. De Moraes himself had been among Brazilian officials already targeted by US sanctions in July. Brazil's government called the US action an attack on its sovereignty and said it will not bend to yet another aggression. Moraes issued a statement saying the illegal and regrettable application of Magnitsky to his wife violates international law, Brazilian sovereignty and the independence of the judiciary. Moraes presided over the criminal case of former President Jair Bolsonaro, who was convicted this month of attempting a coup to stay in power after he lost the 2022 election to current President Lula da Silva. He was sentenced to 27 years in prison. Iran insists diplomacy is the only way to resolve the decades-long nuclear dispute with the West. Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi said that it was time for the West to choose cooperation or confrontation. Britain, France and Germany, known as the E3, launched a 30-day process on August 28th to reimpose UN sanctions, accusing Tehran of failing to abide by a 2015 deal with world powers aimed at preventing it from developing a nuclear weapon. If Tehran and the E3 fail to reach a deal on an extension by the end of September 27, then all UN sanctions will be reimposed on Iran, where the economy already struggles with crippling sanctions reimposed since 2018 after President Trump ditched the pact during his first term. Araghchi said Iran would not respond to the language of pressure and threat and hoped a diplomatic solution would be found.
This year has greater importance because we must express our position on the rights of the Iranian on the back of the 12-day defense of our nation. We must express from a position of authority and resistance, while emphasizing the peaceful nature of the nuclear program of the Islamic Republic of Iran.
در زمان تجاوز هم مقتدرانه با قوت با قدرت از خودش دفاع میکنه همونطوری که در جنگ 12 روزه به اثبات رسید.
US Secretary of State Marco Rubio met with Syrian President Ahmed al-Shara on Monday on the sidelines of the United Nations General Assembly. Shara, a former al-Qaeda leader, led rebel forces that overthrew Bashar al-Assad's government last year. US President Donald Trump met him in Riyadh in May and ordered most sanctions lifted, but the legislation authorizing them remains US law. Shara, the first Syrian president to participate in the General Assembly since 1967, is expected to deliver his first address at the General Assembly, which opens its 80th session on Tuesday. Speaking at a summit on the sidelines of the General Assembly, Shara said that the sanctions imposed on the previous Syrian leadership were no longer justified and were increasingly seen by Syrians as measures targeting them directly. Washington had been pressurizing Syria to reach a security deal with Israel during the New York meetings this week. Shara said those talks had reached an advanced stage and he hoped the outcome would preserve Syria's sovereignty and address Israeli security concerns.
We have made it clear that we will never accept the division of the Syria in factions, because this would lead to trouble and risk against neighboring countries such as Iraq. Therefore, we have to reach peaceful solution. We have to endorse document related to implementation of the convention or the agreement of all the factions, including those supported by Turkey and those supported by Iran. We have to seize the opportunities in order to recognize Syria, because this will benefit everybody, all factions, including the Kurds.
Egyptian British activist Abdel Fattah has been released from prison after President of Egypt granted him a pardon along with 5 others. Known for his outspoken activism, Abdel Fattah spent years in and out of jail and became a symbol of resistance in Egypt. His release follows international pressure, especially during Egypt's COP27 summit in 2022. In September, Sisi asked officials to consider pardoning him, and his name was removed from Egypt's terrorism list earlier this year. More than 90% of Guineans approved a constitutional referendum that could allow the junta leader to run for president. Turnout reached 91.4% in over 80% of polling stations, with 90.06% of ballots supporting the new constitution and 9.04% opposing it. The referendum required a minimum turnout of 50% to be validated. The vote has drawn criticism from opponents who view it as a consolidation of power by junta leader General Mammootty who took control in a 2021 coup. Guinea now joins Mali, Niger and Burkina Faso among West African nations under military rule, with regional and international observers closely monitoring developments in the politically volatile region. Hundreds of people and farmers blocked roads across Ecuador on Monday with burning barricades and tree trunks, defying a state of emergency to protest government cuts to diesel subsidies. The demonstrations turned violent in Otavalo, northern Ecuador, with protesters setting fire to the interior of a police station and vehicles outside the building. The protests stem from the government's decision last week to eliminate a $1.1 billion diesel subsidy used by the heavy transport, passenger vehicle and agricultural sectors. The removal of the subsidy increased diesel costs from $1.8 to $2.8 per gallon, prompting widespread opposition from protesters who argued that the measure will increase living costs. President Daniel Noboa declared a 60-day state of emergency in 7 provinces last week. A quick look now at the stories making it to the headlines from across the world. Police body cam video showed the moment an officer rescued a dog from a house fire in Illinois. Officers from the Aurora Police Department arrived at the scene of a reported house fire. After searching the home, they found a lone dog behind a pet barrier. Officer Michael Ellie found the dog, was able to remove him safely from the house. King Charles visited the Bay Systems shipyard in Barrow-in-Furness on Monday for a commissioning ceremony for HMS Agamemnon, an Astute-class nuclear-powered submarine. The nuclear-powered submarine is set to begin sea trials before entering active service. Bill Nye, the educator and television personality known as the Science Guy, was honored with a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame on Monday. Nye, the host of Emmy Award-winning 1990s television series Bill Nye, the Science Guy, said the recognition was overwhelming. The iconic Pompidou Center in Paris closed its doors to the public on Monday evening for a 5-year renovation project. Opened in 1977, the world-renowned cultural hub is best known for its modern art museum, but also houses a library, cinema, and other facilities. The center is expected to reopen in 2030. You're watching DD India News. We're heading for a short break, but after the break, stay with us for a quick roundup on Defence Minister Rajnath Singh's engagement with Moroccan leadership. Also, we get you a special report on how government under Prime Minister Modi has ensured making healthcare available to all sections of the society. We also show you how, with diligent efforts by Prime Minister Modi, the world has noticed the potential of yoga and Ayurveda, age-old Indian systems of holistic health.
Geopolitics and trade deals. Economic challenges amid development. Hard work and the path to prosperity. It's the economy always. Between walkers, money is what money does and says. Supply creates its own demand. Between the bulls pulls and bears tears. When supply chains globalization and India rises to the podium. We'll get you centered with the Economic Brief at 8 p.m. every Thursday on DD India.
Welcome back after the break. You're watching DD India Newshour. A quick relook at the top stories now. France joins Western allies in recognizing Palestinian state ahead of the UN General Assembly. Netanyahu threatens countries of fierce response. Palestinian president calls for Hamas to surrender weapons in the UN address, appreciates mediation efforts of Qatar, Egypt, US to end the Gaza conflict, calls for permanent ceasefire. India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar meets US counterpart on the sidelines of the UNGA. Discussion focuses on strengthening strategic cooperation in key areas including trade, defense and energy. President Draupadi Murmu to confer the 71st National Film Awards in New Delhi. Malayalam superstar Mohanlal to be honoured with Dadasaheb Phalke Award. India and France held the second meeting of the India-France Special Task Force on Civil Nuclear Energy in New Delhi on Monday. The meeting was co-chaired by Indian Foreign Secretary Vikram Misri and Secretary General of the French Ministry for Europe and Foreign Affairs, Anne-Marie Descotes. During the meeting, both sides undertook a comprehensive review of the progress made over past year through various meetings and consultations. The two sides agreed to remain in close touch over various key aspects of bilateral civil nuclear cooperation. They reaffirmed the importance of engagement in emerging technologies like small and advanced modular reactors. They also exchanged views on global and regional developments of importance, including the Russia-Ukraine conflict and developments in the West Asia region. India's Defence Minister Rajnath Singh met with Morocco's Minister of Trade Riyad Manzour on Monday in Rabat. The Moroccan Trade Minister welcomed Defence Minister Rajnath Singh in the North African nation and emphasized on strengthening industry cooperation between the two nations. The deliberations were focused on strengthening industry partnership in key areas such as defence, pharmaceuticals and chemicals. President Draupadi Murmu will present the awards to the winners at the 71st National Film Awards ceremony in New Delhi today. Legendary actor, director and producer Mohanlal will also be conferred the prestigious Dadasaheb Phalke Award for the year 2023. The Best Feature Film Award will be given to the Hindi movie 12th Fail, while the Best Hindi Film Award will be presented to the Hindi movie Kathal, a jackfruit mystery. National Film Awards in the Best Actor category will be conferred to actor Shah Rukh Khan for his film Jawan and actor Vikrant Messe for 12th Fail. Rani Mukherjee has been given the Best Actress Award for her performance in the film Mrs. Chatterjee vs. Norway, while Flowering Man, directed by Samajit Ghosh Dastida, has bagged the Best Non-Feature Film Award. Piyush Thakur has got the Best Direction Award. God Vulture and Human have got the award for Best Documentary. Hindi film Rocky Aur Rani Ki Prem Kahani bagged the award for Best Popular Film for Wholesome Entertainment, while Sam Bahadur was named Best Feature Film promoting national, social and environmental values. The last rites of Assam's cultural icon, Zubeen Garg, will be held at Sonapur in Assam on Tuesday. Assam government has ordered a second autopsy to aid the investigation into Zubeen's sudden death. The autopsy will be conducted at Guwahati Medical College with doctors from AIIMS present. Following the autopsy, the remains will be taken to the cremation ground in Sonapur for the final rites. Union Minister Kiran Rijiju and officials from various states will attend the funeral. A memorial site will also be built in Sonapur in Zubeen Garg's memory. Meanwhile, Assam police will travel to Singapore for further investigation. All right, Subina is joining us from Dibrugarh. Subina, we tell our viewers that last rites of Zubeen Garg will be held today. What more can you add?
Yeah, a very good morning, Preeti. This is the fourth day of mourning, state mourning that Assam is having. And people of Assam are having sleepless nights because they are really shocked by the untimely demise of actor of Zubeen Garg. So the Assam government last night had ordered for a second autopsy report of the legendary singer because many allegations have come up. So to overcome any foul reports, a second autopsy has been will be conducted today early morning at 3:30 a.m. His mortal remains were taken to the Guwahati Medical College. And the autopsy report will be conducted in a short while. And where the doctors of AIIMS will also be present for the autopsy report. following which, after the post-mortem, his remains will be taken to Sonapur at Kumarkuchi village, where the Assam government has allocated a 10-bigha land for to build a memorial site on his name, and it is near the National Highway 37. The funeral rites is expected to be attended by Union Cabinet Minister Kiran Rijiju, Union Minister Sarbananda Sonowal, and then some government ministers, including the CM, the leader of opposition, a representative from Assam Sahitya Sabha, representative from the film fraternity, and including his family members, which includes a list of 85 persons. No private vehicles will be allowed near the location. Only the government will provide buses in which their families and close members will attend the funeral. And post the final rites, a gun salute will also be performed. Following which, after the rites, his ashes will be taken to Jorhat, where another memorial site will be built, which was his home town, Preeti. And for the past 2 days, thousands and lakhs of fans, admirers have been paying tributes to the legendary singer. Yesterday, King of Bhutan had paid his last tributes, and then the singer Papon had also paid his last tributes to the legendary singer. The governor of Assam had also paid his last tributes yesterday, and we could see different tributes being poured yesterday at Busan International Film Festival. Also, a tribute was given to Zubeen Garg, and at the ICC World Cup Women's World Cup, also a tribute will be given to the late singer Zubeen Garg. Zubeen Garg was not just a filmmaker or a singer or a film director, but he was an emotion for the people of Assam, because he always stood up for the people of Assam in their times of need. During floods, donations were given to the flood-affected victims. He was associated with different organizations. He was played a pivotal role in provincializing the Guwahati Blind School, and he had special corner not just for differently abled people, but also for animals. So we could see even animals were paying tribute to the legendary singer. Yesterday, his pet dogs were brought to the funeral site where they paid their last rites. Preeti. So that's the emotion which we carry, because this was a legendary singer who did not live like a celebrity. He led a normal life. He listened to people and especially the people of Assam. Even his house in Mumbai was always open to Assamese people to discuss films, songs, and to have productive discussions on film. So his heart was for the people of Assam, and he always stood up for the rights of the indigenous people. He was one non-political figure who stood up during the Citizenship Amendment Bill. So he was always vocal about any kind of issues, and he did not care about anyone. He had said that he has no caste, he has no religion, he has no God. He only knew humanity, and that's why he was free, and that's why he was Kanchenjunga. And today the whole nation is singing national anthem, the Mayabini, which he had said in a concert during 2019 at B. Borga College, to be sung when he died. So today the people of Assam are singing Mayabini at each and every corner. If you see, the state is in a complete standstill for the past 3 days, and this is the 4th day of mourning. However, the Assam government has appealed to all the businessmen, to all the shopkeepers, to open their establishments after 2 p.m. And following which normal life is expected to begin after his final rite will be performed. Preeti.
All right. So, thank you so much, Zubeen, for joining in with those details from Dibrugarh. Turning focus to other updates, being an ardent yoga practitioner himself, Prime Minister Modi has made the world notice the potential of yoga and Ayurveda, age-old Indian systems of holistic health. Once ancient traditions, now global trends, yoga and Ayurveda are winning hearts as natural solutions for stress, well-being and longevity. Up next, we get you a detailed report that delves more into these global catalysts for wellness. Take a look. An invaluable gift of ancient Indian tradition, yoga has emerged as one of the most trusted means to boost physical and mental well-being. The word yoga means to join or to unite, symbolizing the unity of mind and body, thought and action. Prime Minister Modi has emerged as the global champion of yoga by promoting it not just as a form of exercise, but as a holistic lifestyle for health, harmony and peace. In 2014, he proposed the idea of International Day of Yoga, which received an overwhelming support of 177 countries at the UNGA. Such is the potency of soft power. It gives a country influence without coercive or transactional means. Soft power emerges from the culture of a country which persuades or attracts others. Since 2015, he has led mass yoga events including Rajpath in New Delhi and UN headquarters in New York, and has become synonymous with yoga, modern global champion of yoga. Prime Minister Modi remarked that the essence of yoga is to unite, and it is heartening to see how yoga has united the world. Through consistent advocacy at international fora and his own personal practice, Prime Minister Modi has positioned yoga as a universal practice for health, wellness and peace.
World doesn't need violence. World needs this yoga, where people develop care and compassion for others. People solve all the problem at a peace level. First they come with peace with themselves and then they solve the problem. So many countries are celebrating Yoga Day. And it's not just that day, it is going on. So many schools, colleges, universities have come. So many people are getting into yoga way of life.
Prime Minister Modi has also strongly promoted Ayurveda as India's ancient system of holistic healing. In 2014, he created the Ministry of Ayush to develop and globalize traditional medicine. Since its inception in 2014, the National Ayush Mission has supported the establishment of 167 integrated Ayush hospitals and upgraded more than 5,000 dispensaries while facilitating Ayush services in over 2,300 primary health centers. Additionally, over 12,000 Ayush health and wellness centers have been made functional. In January 2025, while laying the foundation stone for Central Ayurveda Research Institute in Delhi, Prime Minister Modi described it as Ayurveda's next big leap. Not just this, the government has set up Ayush ICMR Center for Integrative Health at 4 aims at Delhi, Jodhpur, Nagpur and Rishikesh. Prime Minister Modi inaugurated All India Institute of Ayurveda and encouraged scientific research in Ayurveda. India's Ayush system has expanded to over 100 countries, driven by initiatives like the establishment of the WHO Global Traditional Medicine Center in Jamnagar, Gujarat in 2022. The establishment of 111 Ayush wellness centers offer accessible, affordable and authentic Ayush treatments, attracting both domestic and international visitors. COVID-19 made the world sit back and take notice of the potency of Ayurvedic immunity boosters and preventive care. By promoting Ayurveda at international fora, Prime Minister Modi has helped it earn global recognition as a pillar of wellness and healthy living. In the past 11 years, India has proven to be not just a custodian of traditional knowledge, it is a global catalyst for wellness. Whether through world-class institutions, international partnerships, or cultural movements like yoga, the country is redefining how traditional practices can contribute meaningfully to global health. Preeti Kaur, DD India. Indian Consulate in Toronto celebrated the International Ayurveda Day 2025 in Waterloo. The event was graced by Ms. Bardish Chagar, MP, and John Goodman, Staff Superintendent, Waterloo Regional Police Service. Consul Girish Juneja highlighted the global significance of Ayurveda Day as a celebration of India's ancient system of medicine Ayurveda experts spoke on the health benefits of Ayurveda and the role of millets in daily nutrition, while the millet exhibits attracted enthusiastic interest from the participants. Embassy of India in Colombo also celebrated Ayurveda Day 2025 with enlightening talks on Ayurveda, its principles and benefits for modern living, joined by Colombian nationals and the Indian diaspora. Ambassador His Excellency Vanla Luma emphasized on Ayurveda's holistic approach to health and wellness and its relevance in addressing contemporary lifestyle challenges. With multiple welfare schemes, Prime Minister Narendra Modi has always set the focus of the government on making healthcare available to all sections of the society. Take a look.
World's largest health insurance scheme, Pradhan Mantri Jan Arogya Scheme, ensures cashless care, nationwide hospital access and support for the poor, elderly and vulnerable. The scheme provides health cover of Rs 5 lakh per family per year for secondary and tertiary care hospitalization to approximately 55 crore beneficiaries. Till now, Ayushman cards have been issued to over 41 crore beneficiaries.
Poor people like us, where would we go? Our lakhs of rupees would have been used up. But because of the Prime Minister, I am better today. I have a heart issue and I need a pacemaker machine in my heart.
In October 2024, the scheme was expanded to include all senior citizens above 70 years of age. More than 6 crore people have already started receiving benefits under Ayushman Vaya Vandana cards. Almost half of the patients availing treatment are women. The biggest advantage of this scheme is its portability. A card issued in one state can be used for treatment in another state. Over 12 lakh people have already benefited from this interstate portability.
This scheme ने access to healthcare बढ़ाई.
This scheme has increased the access to healthcare and has given confidence to the poor that their treatment can be done. Just come forward. And it became possible without causing a heavy dent to the pockets of the poor. So this is a welfare scheme for the poor.
तो ये बिल्कुल गरीब कल्याण की scheme है.
By reducing out-of-pocket expenditure and ensuring timely treatment, the Ayushman Bharat scheme has truly transformed healthcare access for the poor. It stands as a revolutionary step towards a healthy and empowered India. Nitendra Singh's report for DD India.
Let's get you some weather updates now. The monsoon in India is now entering its withdrawal phase across several regions. However, some areas continue to experience persistent rainfall. According to the Indian Met Department, coastal Mumbai will witness pleasant weather before heavy showers return later this week. In the eastern region, Bihar's Dussehra festivities are expected to remain dry for the next 2 days, but rain and thunderstorms may arrive around Saptami. In the south, Hyderabad witnessed waterlogging after Monday's downpour, with more rain forecast due to a deep depression forming in the Bay of Bengal. Also, Delhi and NCR region remain dry as the monsoon prepares to exit, ending with 40 to 40.9% excess rainfall this season. Hong Kong has been preparing for Super Typhoon Gaza, one of the strongest storms in years. Schools and businesses are closed and hundreds of flights have been cancelled. The Hong Kong Observatory is expected to raise the typhoon warning signal to level 8. Authorities have warned of heavy rain, powerful winds and a storm surge, posing the risk of severe flooding. As the typhoon has already caused disruption in the northern Philippines, prompting President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. to place disaster agencies on full alert. Its peripheral rain has also reached southeast Taiwan, bringing heavy showers. With the storm approaching, authorities are urging residents in Hong Kong, Macau, Taiwan and nearby regions to stay indoors, secure property and take all necessary precautions. Let's talk of sports now. We'll talk of Asia Cup first. In the competition, Pakistan will face Sri Lanka in a must-win Super 4 clash on Tuesday. Sri Lanka topped Pool B by winning all 3 of their group stage matches against Bangladesh, Afghanistan and Hong Kong. However, they lost their opening Super 4 match against Bangladesh on Saturday, denting their chances of qualifying for the final. Similarly, Pakistan's qualification hopes suffered a blow when they lost to India by 6 wickets in their opening Super 4's encounter. The loser of this game will be virtually eliminated from the tournament. All right, our correspondent Mukesh Shukla is joining us from Dubai. Mukesh, was just given a hint of how the contest, would seem like. But you explain the nitty-gritties, help us understand how do we expect the day to pan out.
Well, Preeti, it's a do-or-die situation for both teams because in the Super 4, their opening encounter, both teams already lost their matches. Pakistan, already lost by the India, Bangladesh beaten by Bangladesh already beaten Sri Lanka. So this is the do-or-die match. It's very important if they want to go to the final on Sunday. They have to must win in this match. But the situation, how Pakistan accelerate his batting or bowling, it's depend on their situation. In the last match, they score 171 runs, but in their bowling side, they already failed to stop Indian batsmen and Indian batsmen. They're totally dominating on the Pakistani bowler, and they achieve the target strongly. Meanwhile, if you look at the Sri Lankan team, they have advantage because they are cool, calm. They are playing strategically in their group matches. It was the last encounter against the Bangladesh. The match was very close. So if they want to beat Pakistan, they have to pull their socks and play accordingly to their plan and execution. Where the Pakistan, you see in this whole tournament, they create controversies. In the last match, you already everyone shown that how Farhan, when he completed his 50 and he is celebrating in the different mood, again the question raising on his celebration, their team missing press conferences, their team are not answering the question of the media, they are hiding from the media. So the Pakistani situation and their team situation is very tough if they are off field or on field. So if they want to play, they want to win this match, they come strongly and play accordingly to their best potential if they want to play a final against, because India have great chances to in the final, they will reach in the final. They played well in the group stage as well as in the clash of the Super 4 matches. So Pakistan knows if they want to complete their final journey, they have to must win against Sri Lanka.
All right, so it's a do or die situation for both the teams. Thank you so much, Mukesh, for joining in with those updates. And Paris Saint-Germain winger Ousmane Dembele clinched the Ballon d'Or in Paris for a starring role in the club's Champions League triumph last season. The 28-year-old France forward Dembele became the 6th French player to lift the award and the first since Karim Benzema in 2022. He beat Spain and Barcelona forward Lamine Yamal, with his PSG teammate Vitinha taking the 3rd place. While Spain's Aitana Bonmati, the Champions League player of the season, won the Women's Ballon d'Or for the 3rd time in a row. The Paris Saint-Germain, who won the treble of Champions League, Ligue 1 and the French Cup last season, were named Team of the Season. Luis Enrique was voted Best Coach and Gianluigi Donnarumma was recognized as the top goalkeeper with the Yashin Trophy, while England's manager Sarina Wiegman was honoured as Women's Coach of the Year after leading her side to the European title. Ligue 1 champions Paris Saint-Germain suffered a 1-0 defeat at Olympique de Marseille. Naif Aguad's early header proved to be decisive in his side's first home win over their bitter rivals since 2011. Marseille started brightly, striking inside 5 minutes as Aguad headed the ball in the post after PSG goalkeeper Lucas Chevalier completely misjudged the cross. Marseille nearly doubled their advantage, but the second goal was ruled out for offside. The PSG fell to their first league defeat of the season after 5 matches, remaining on 12 points and yielding first place to AS Monaco on goals scored. Changing track from sports to entertainment, India is celebrating its culture, cinema and creativity on the global stage. At the 30th Busan International Film Festival, a special Bharat Parv is showcasing India's soft power from films to classical music. DD India's correspondent Jaishankar brings you this report.
India's creative spirit took center stage at Busan with Bharat Parv, a vibrant celebration of cinema, culture and collaboration. The event brought together key dignitaries including Busan International Film Festival Chairman, the Director of the Asian Contents and Film Market, senior representatives from the Busan Film Commission. Indian high-level delegation was led by Minister of State for Information and Broadcasting, Dr. L. Murugan. Film industry leaders from Korea and India also joined.
This Bharat Parv is now in this Busan International Film Festival. We are exhibiting our Indian films, Indian music, Indian culture, Indian tradition. Apart from that, our Indian technicians, gamings, comics. For that, because we have an soft manpower and skilled manpower. So our manpower, skilled manpower, they are utilizing even some of Bollywood's movies post-production.
Adding to the cultural vibrancy was a captivating classical dance performance from India, leaving the global audience spellbound. Bharat Parv not only celebrated Indian arts and cinema, but also deepened India-Korea cultural bonds.
इतना अच्छा, इतनी खुशी हो रही है कि मैंने आज ये भारत पर्व अटेंड किया बुसान में. यहाँ पे फिल्में तो हमने देखी, इंडियन फिल्म्स भी देखी और काफ़ी अच्छे से उनको रिप्रेजेंट किया गया है. और यहाँ भारत की संस्कृति भी देखी, साथ में इतने बढ़िया परफॉर्मेंसेस हुए, इतने बढ़िया डांस हुए ट्रेडिशनल, और बहुत अच्छा लगा देख के और दिल खुश हो गया और मतलब एकदम गर्व महसूस हो रहा है अभी.
I see India movie is a future for movie industry. Like a US, we are running our ideas, but I saw a couple of movies from India, and I think I don't know, all of Indian people are great actors. You guys have so much emotion, and I'm just very impressed.
India very wonderful because their expression is very powerful, and India's expression is very gorgeous, I think. Indian movie is very big market, and so many people like that, so I'm very impressed with that today.
With film, music and dance, India's presence at Busan is making a mark like never before. From Busan, Jaishankar for DD India.
All right, that's it in this edition of DD India Newshour. But let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those of you on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on the DD India mobile app. This app is available on both Android and iOS platforms, and you can download the respective QR code. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Preeti Kaur signing off, and from all of us here in Delhi, thanks for watching DD India Newshour.